Known as North Carolina's gem, the Crystal Coast is an 85-mile stretch of coastline that extends from the Cape Lookout National Seashore to White Oak River. The spectacular beaches that give the area its name are a popular destination for visitors looking to recharge their batteries. But the Crystal Coast also offers outdoor enthusiasts a variety of activities and adventures to choose from. The sheltered bays and sounds are perfect for leisurely paddles with friends and family, and the proximity to the Gulf Stream causes warm water that provides one of the longest fishing seasons on the Atlantic coast. For the more adventurous, the afternoon winds create world-class playgrounds for kiteboarders, while the unprotected Outer Banks offer some of the best surfing on the East Coast. Stunning beaches, world-class natural playgrounds, and big air with kites. This week on Facing Waves, we're paddling the Crystal Coast. On the eastern edge of the United States, within the Roosevelt Natural Area, is the North Carolina Aquarium at Pine Knoll Shores. 25 acres of woodland and marsh dedicated to housing local indigenous species for visitors from everywhere to come and see.
The first thing that came to me when we were walking through the aquarium is it reminded me of being a kid again. I hadn't been to an aquarium since I was in elementary school.
The aquarium has 25 acres that we can use. And what we've done, as you can see, we have a boardwalk that puts you right down to the marsh. We have a couple of nature trails. Starts here, you go out, you walk along the marsh, then you go back into a maritime forest. And this little piece right here, we have a pretty cool little floating bridge. And then we've even pushed the envelope a little bit. We put a woodland playground out here, and it's like a treehouse playground. The kids love it.
One of my favorite things were the otters. The cool thing about them is they're indigenous to the area. And that was what I found unique about the aquarium is there's a lot of wildlife and fish that are indigenous to North Carolina.
Since they're North Carolina river otters, they're named after North Carolina rivers. So there's Eno, Pungo, and Neuse. I don't know what we'll do if we get any more because the names don't flow as well after that. And then the other feature animal we have is Nimbus. Nimbus was a hatchling sea turtle that we got.
He's like a local celebrity.
He doesn't know it, but yes, he's a celebrity.
The second most awesome thing was that you can actually go in the water, and they offer kayaking tours, stand-up tours, where you can actually get in the water and paddle up the creek next to the aquarium.
We do kayaking, we do canoeing, we do paddle boarding, and we take you on a tour pretty much along the fringe of the Roosevelt Natural Area.
The fact that the aquarium offers these paddling programs is great because they have a lot of the younger generation, the kids and school programs coming through, and I think that, you know, if I had that when I was a kid, I would have loved it to, instead of seeing these animals through glass, actually being in the environment with them in nature would have been a huge experience for me.
So you'll see birds like the egrets, you'll see herons. If you're lucky enough, an osprey. We've even had a couple of eagles pass over us.
So it's a gorgeous day. It's warm, the water's warm, the sun is out, and it's really protected. There's not a lot of wind here that we have to fight, so we're paddling up the creek, and there's so much stuff to look at, like so many fish. I think they're called mullets. And I swear back here, there's probably about 100,000 of them swimming up and down the river, along with birds. The osprey are swooping down, catching fish. There's so much to see. It's incredible down here how much wildlife and how much scenery we have to look at.
And it's great during the summertime because families come down and they're almost immediately looking for something to put the kids into so that the adults can do what they want to do. And in some cases, we'll even do a summer camp, like a whole week. So we'll take the kids, we'll get them out, they'll get exhausted, they'll get tired, they'll get dirty, they'll do things outside, they'll do a couple of things inside. We'll work them on the paddle boards and kayaks.
Facing Waves is brought to you by Fitbit. Find your fit. The Crystal Coast, North Carolina's gem. Body Gloves, all things water. Divers Direct, gear up, get in. And Tahoe SUP, go on tour. Facing Waves accommodation is provided by Blue Heaven in North Carolina's Crystal Coast. This week, we're exploring North Carolina's Crystal Coast and discovering the variety of water-based activities that the region has to offer. Thanks to reliable afternoon winds and wide and shallow waterways, kiteboarding continues to explode in popularity along the Crystal Coast, and so we've hooked up with Blown Kiteboarding to experience it firsthand.
When I got to the Crystal Coast, all I heard about was this place called Cape Lookout, which is an iconic place off the shore. It's an island with this lighthouse that has a reputation for lots of ships that have shipwrecked there. But it's also a gorgeous place where you can access and tour the island. It's beautiful, there's good surf out there, and the day we were there, it happened to be really good for kiting. Normally, I'm not a spectator, but the day we went out to Cape Lookout, it was just a little bit too windy for me to learn how to kite. So I got to watch these amazing kiters all day long from the boat.
I'm looking forward to going kiting. I've been kiting for about 15 years, and a lot of the equipment has changed, so I'm going to be using some top quality equipment from the guys from Blown Kiteboarding. It's going to be awesome.
So we've got a beautiful October day. It's maybe 80 degrees out. It's sunny, gorgeous. We've got like 20 miles per hour of wind. We've got friends coming from all over the coast to join us. We've got pro rider Evan Nash coming. We're just gonna fill up the sky with kites, and we've got some pretty good waves out there. Gonna check it all out and have some fun.
Normally you'd be watching from shore, but I got to see them from the boat, catching huge air, going right by the boat, getting splashed.
Kiteboarding is a lifestyle. It's not just something that you do. It's something that will give people release from the ordinary everyday life, which I believe people need. I know that all those hours that I worked in shops when I was working 60, 70 hours a week, I needed an avenue to get out, and kiteboarding is that avenue.
I first took my first kiteboarding lesson in the Caribbean, in Cabarete in the Dominican Republic, and it was very challenging. It was deep water, lots of choppy conditions, very crowded, and I'm really lucky that I stuck with it because it was very, very challenging. And then coming over here to the Crystal Coast and working on progressing in the sound, anywhere that I fell down or any mishap that I had, I could just put my feet down and I'd be standing right back up, and I could recover my board, recover the kite, and really progress and learn.
I have been out on lessons where I've literally gotten chills, just out of the students reaction and experience to getting up and going. And that is the truth. And it happens every season because their excitement is so much and so great that I feel that too. And that is a really cool thing to be a part of. So we cherish and value, you know, that experience, and we try to pass that on to other people so they can then too, you know, follow along and spread the good word.
I love living in Eastern Carolina because we've got wind pretty much year-round. There's a couple of months where it's just hit or miss, but we've got a great windy season and great bikini season.
Kiteboarding, you're continuously in the moment. It's not that you're paddling after this one wave. You're always going, and you see that wave, and you power yourself into it, and you can slash the face of a wave and turn and then keep going, you know, and then you're moving down the beach and you see all these waves in this lineup, and then you see the next one. It is challenging at first. You're tying a lot of different variables together. So each accomplishment that people make on their way to becoming a proficient kiteboarder is a milestone, and they can really find satisfaction and enjoyment in getting in each and every one of those. It's accessible for more people than you would realize. We have people from 10 years old to mid-70s taking lessons. So there's a wide range of people that can experience this, and it's not limited to you know, muscular strength or, you know, someone who is a really good athlete. It's really accessible, and it's a great release.
Facing Waves is brought to you by Fitbit. Find your fit. Facing Waves is brought to you by Tahoe SUP. Go on tour. Welcome back to Facing Waves. This week, Nikki Gregg is joined by fellow Body Glove rider Luke Hopkins on North Carolina's Crystal Coast.
The Crystal Coast offers many opportunities to get those extra steps. So in the morning, I got up early, I went to the beach, and I did a beach run. So that helped me accelerate my steps right off the bat. And, you know, the rest of the steps I got in the day were a bonus. Fitbit offers some friendly, fun challenges that you can do with your friends. Whether it's for one day, weekend, or an entire week, you can challenge your friends to see who can get the most steps in a day. I really tried to get the most steps I could in a day to try to win each competition. So I thought it was a great way to keep me active all day. Like a boulder's just tumbling off me. We met up with the folks at Hot Wax Surf Shop.
We are a surf and paddle shop, and we do surf lessons, paddleboard and kayak lessons and tours, and even fishing tours.
We do tours of the maritime forest. We call them our Wild by Nature tours. And when you're out on those tours, you can get in a kayak, and then the younger people can paddleboard. And on those tours, we're going to see bottlenose dolphin, osprey, eagles, and all kinds of wildlife, flora and fauna. And everybody has a lot of fun.
Sarah was our guide for the day. She was awesome. She took us up the marsh and some of the creeks.
All right, well, we are here on the White Oak River, and we're gonna go along these canoe trails. This here is all a part of the Croatan National Forest, so we're gonna go underneath the walking trails that we have set up along here.
You know, it's quiet, but you don't think there's a lot going on, but when you stop and you look around you, there is so much life, so much action going on.
We'll see a lot of fish jumping. That's gonna be shrimp and mullet.
Whoa! They're like shrimp poppers. As we paddle through here, you can just see them jumping. They're like either afraid of us as we paddle by, they're starting to jump, or there's some fish coming through and chasing them. But the one actually jumped and landed on my board.
So we're situated right here within the Bogue Sound. So we're in estuarine waters, we're not in the open ocean marine waters. And it has significant freshwater inputs. It's really where the rivers meet the sea, and they make this large pool of shallow water that becomes, you know, the favorite habitat of snails, blue crabs, all sorts of fish, and you know, a fair bit of humans as well.
Sarah and the rest of the guides from the Hot Wax Surf Shop, they're not only good athletes and know the area, but they also know the ecosystem really well. Sarah, tell us exactly what these things are.
These are periwinkle snails.
Okay.
And they are attached to the seagrass or the cordgrass that we were talking about earlier.
They can actually cut back the grass in really sizable amounts. Experiments show in a month you can grow almost, you know, the height of a person, 5 foot, 6 foot in grass, when these little guys just aren't eating it.
This is like nature's little lawnmowers.
Nature's little lawnmowers, absolutely.
This is a sanctuary for saltwater species. They grow.
Being with Sarah, she's such a nice girl and very knowledgeable. So that was probably one of the highlights of the trip was getting out there. And you know, we did have a bit of a windy day, but we could definitely sneak back into the creek there and get away from the wind, and it was just a beautiful day. Let's take a quick look at some of the gear I used on this trip to North Carolina's Crystal Coast. With a very busy work and travel schedule, I need something to hold me accountable each and every day in order to succeed with my fitness goals. The Fitbit Surge helps with that because it's like a little workout buddy. On this trip, we've been touring and exploring via stand-up paddleboard, and my board of choice is the Tahoe SUP Rubicon. I really like that board because of the Honeytech core, which makes it lightweight, the Core Guard exterior, which makes it durable, and the sleek design, which helps it track really well on the water. My lifestyle requires me to be in the water, in the sand, and in the dirt. So on this trip, I brought with me the Optrix Action Camera Case. I really like this case because not only is it completely 100% waterproof and droppable, it comes with 4 interchangeable lenses that I can change up to take photos and selfies, and I can share them with my friends. If you're interested in any of the gear I used on this trip, log on to diversdirect.com.
Facing Waves is brought to you by Body Glove, all things water. Facing Waves is brought to you by Divers Direct. Gear up, get in.
Today's a pretty windy day in the ocean for kiteboarding, but it's also a place where you can go across this spit of land where all the houses are here and restaurants, and there's a sound on the other side. Makes for a great place to go paddleboarding and do some stuff that's a little more mellow with the kids and the family.
I ran a big marine salvage company out of here for 23 years. I sold that a few years ago, and last summer my son and I were looking for something to do, and we started up a paddleboard business. And today I'm getting to show Luke and his family around our beautiful area. This is Carrot Island. It's also the Rachel Carson Reserve. It's an absolutely gorgeous place. All out here, this is Bird Shoals.
Rod just knows so much about this area, so when he showed us where we could go and he showed us on the map, it just made for an exploration of checking out all these new little beaches and inlet spits that one side is the Sound and the other side actually had some waves to surf, and they're only 50 feet apart.
After Rod showed us our route for the day and some of the places we were going to go out and explore, we paddled out through the boats into the sunrise. It was amazing, just so beautiful, glass water.
We're going to cruise down here past the Pelicans and out towards Carrot Island, which I heard is a really, really beautiful place, but really everything's so beautiful around here.
Stand-up paddleboarding with the kids is so great because they can sit on the board. They're not on your back in a heavy backpack weighing you down. They get to dip their feet in, splash the water as we're going. They get a new perspective of looking over right directly into the water to check out the wildlife. They jump off the board. Boards are great swimming platforms for them. And they love it because they feel like they are helping. They're splashing along, paddling, and helping us go, keeping our lines straight.
We both love paddling. We're very fitness oriented. So it's great for us to be paddling, but the girls are also just playing right there on our boards. So it's kind of this on-water floating platform that we can paddle around and go places.
The kids get to play and paddle and explore and push their limits in a kid-safe environment.
It's really accessible. You can get in and you can paddle just a short distance, and you might have beautiful waterfront over here with some big boats and a nice scene and restaurants you can stop at and eat at. And then just a couple hundred yards away, there's some wild horses and there's pelicans flying around, and it's just an awesome place to paddle, especially with the kids, and seeing different little things and them getting to play on the water, play on the board, and play on the beach.
I found that flatwater paddling around here is absolutely fantastic. And I love teaching the lessons. Mostly we teach absolute beginners. And we're all about family fun.
Now we're out on the beach. We've paddled out here. We're going to go check out some other things. We're taking a break and enjoying the sandy beaches and playing and running and swimming. And the girls are having an awesome time even right now, looking for the different shells and treasures.
There's seashells everywhere that are buffed by the ocean. And so the girls can play in the seashells, and they're not sharp or anything, and they can play around and find new seashells to take home with them and check out.
What about my shoes?
We'll be okay without shoes on the paddleboard. The beauty of this area is that you have the ocean on one side, and you have the wildlife and the horses and the sound on the other. So you have that calm water for enjoying the family activities, and you also have that ocean side for playing on the beach, surfing some little waves, and actually doing some kiteboarding, which was really cool yesterday.
My vision for the kids is that they have an appreciation for nature. They recognize that there's more than just their backyard, that there's a whole world out there.